So back in middle school, I'm talking sixth or seventh grade, I had a friend, man. He was actually one of my best friends at the time. His name was Bradley. And Bradley, he was that kid that had that attractive personality, had like a voice that people would want to listen to, and was just a very funny guy. A lot of people wanted to be around him. A lot of people loved him. Maybe you know a kid like that, or maybe you are that kid. So me and Bradley, we ended up becoming really cool. We before middle school, we played on like rival football teams. So we played against each other, but we didn't really get to know each other until we got into like sixth grade. That's when our relationship started to kind of develop, and we just became real cool, man. I'm talking about meeting up with girls together, going to skating, going to the movies, going to parties together, running through the halls, getting in trouble together, man. This was the guy that brought the stink bombs to school. This was the guy that dared me to spray my teacher's chair with fart spray when she left the class for a few minutes. Like, we got into a lot of trouble together. We had a good time. We had a lot of good laughs throughout like my middle school years for sure. Now, after seventh grade, my family bounced around, so I ended up moving. And we had still kept part of our relationship because we always used to play Call of Duty online together and be in little groups and be talking and talking trash to people and talking trash to each other too, of course. But as time went on, our relationship did start to fade somewhat. And while I had moved away, something very dark had happened to Bradley. So Bradley, he was the type of guy, he liked being around girls. He liked being around girls, and it was just one girl specifically that did kind of grow up around him and grew up in his neighborhood. We're gonna call her Susie, and we're gonna call her other friend that she used to have around a lot, we're gonna call him Bobby. Now, Bobby, he was the first person I'll say I seen that was like openly gay, or openly part of the LGBTQ community, right? Talking about glitter on the face, woman's clothes, the wig, strutting through the hallways like he was on the runway, all that stuff, right? And Bobby used to hang around Susie a lot. And my friend Bradley, he wanted to be around Susie. So one day, I guess they're all at the girl Susie's house, and I guess there's some drugs there, some weed, some alcohol, whatever, right? Now, while Bradley was there, and they were partaking in the drugs and alcohol and all that, somehow, I won't go into too much detail, but somehow Bobby ended up taking advantage of my friend Bradley. And this became something that would kind of haunt him for the rest of his life because he wasn't able to move on from it. I'm not sure how it got out and like people started telling people. Either Bobby told, Susie told, or whoever Bradley told about it, and trusted and thought he could tell certain things to. They went and told some people. So somehow it got out, and our county, all the middle schools, we're all on Facebook, everybody's following each other. So this news even got to me at one point while I'm in like eighth grade going into ninth grade. And before believing it, because I'm like, no way, this is like Bradley. Like, nah, we tight. We always been messing with girls. There's no way something like this would have happened to him. Right? So I messaged him on Xbox, and this was the first time that I sent him a message and I never got a response. I messaged him and I asked about the situation and asked, was it true? Because, I was hearing the stories, and he didn't respond. He didn't respond, and I wouldn't see him until I think my junior year of high school. He ended up moving to my high school. And, at this point, we were in different friend groups. He wasn't really playing sports no more. I was. And he was kind of with the guys that were like getting high and just trying to be worried about girls for the most part, and, doing things they probably shouldn't have been doing. But even in his group, he was flourishing at my school. I don't think anybody else really knew about the situation. He did get in fights over certain things and had some events going on that would also haunt him later on. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. As far as like him being at my high school, I think he was in a good space at this time still. I think so. And I wouldn't see him until 9 or 10 years after that. So 9 or 10 years later, this is literally last year. Outside with my friends, we're just having some sparring rounds. We passing around the gloves, just just making each other better, iron sharpen iron type of activities. And we were uh, in the middle of the apartment complex of my old neighborhood that I just moved from, right? And we were near the pool area, kind of. We were kind of near the pool. And, I see this tall black figure at the pool. I see him at the pool, and I'm just like, if something tells me like, yo, that's Bradley right there. That's Bradley. That could be Bradley right there. And me and my friends, we stood down there boxing. And next thing you know, we finished. We just stand around talking, and I see this guy starts walking up, and I instantly, once I heard the voice, once I seen the face, once I seen the smile, and seen the light, because he still had some of that light, he still had some of that attractive energy, right? Once I seen that, I knew exactly who it was. I'm like, oh my God, this is Bradley. Like, I haven't seen this guy in 19 years. We instantly like dap up, embrace each other, and we started talking about certain things, mostly about where we were in life. At this time, he was still entertaining things he probably shouldn't have been. He was very big into like I guess like pimping and stuff, pimping and kind of dealing, but also other avenues of business. Like, he had his whole spiel at the time. He was at a point where he was kind of maximizing his ability to be likable, and he was that type of guy. He walk up and talk to anybody, and try to learn from that person. Very smart guy, very like entrepreneurship mindset. He just had a lot of different lanes going on, and some things he probably shouldn't been doing. Me at this time, when I'm seeing him, I'm looking at him, and I can just tell his eyes are yellow. His fingers. If you ever seen somebody, I forgot what the illness is or what it actually means, but it's like his fingertips were kind of like huge, like his regular finger, and then the tip kind of became huge like that, and that was like all his fingers. So instantly I knew he had some type of illness or something going on, and I kind of figured it was just something kind of related to the drugs or just whatever he was going through in life. I did end up giving him a ride home that day, and he was just kind of surprised because I'm a little bit more muscular at this point. I'm just moving in an energy that he figured, like he thought I was in the military just by the energy I had. It's because how I move, how I kind of carry myself. He thought I was in the military, but I'm like, nah. And I'm giving him a ride home to his crib at this time, right? So by the time we get there, I see his house, where he's living at. I'm like, okay, you got a nice space, right? You got a nice space. He's telling me about different girls he's messing with, different things he's got going on. He even actually calls his mom and shows her me, and like, Mom, look, it's my friend Justin, da 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 da, from back in middle school. So after that, he's pretty much just telling me that he got a couple legal things he's going through. He got to go to court. I think it was something like a gun charge and some more things. But besides that, the main stuff he kept talking about was old stuff. Like, he just kept feeling like he brought up that old situation when I told y'all about Bobby. He felt like he had explained that to me. And I was just telling him, like, bro, you don't have to explain nothing to me. Like, he was just saying how he felt like he got taken advantage of. He had videos from like 8th, ninth grades of fights that people said he lost. And it was just a lot of old stuff that he should have been moved on from. Like, it's a lot of stuff that we go through when we're kids. And if we don't move on from some of this stuff, then it will haunt us. Like that resentment, those grudges, holding these old feelings, like these things will breed negativity throughout your life. And I seen it happening in real time once I seen him. And it's like all he could really talk about was just trying to like defend his old self, when he should be worried about his new self and his future. So I had one of my other friends around too one of the days, because after he seen me that first day, he would like come back and just kind of hang around my neighborhood day after day after day, sitting at the pool, getting in arguments with people. But every time he see me, he want to talk and chill and all that good stuff. And one of the days, one of my friends, they said like, yeah, the way he's going, he's probably not going to be around here too much longer anyway. So the last day I seen him, he was telling me a little bit about some of the drugs that he was on, and just more of the things that he was going through currently in life. And, to me, I felt like I felt like it was no way that I could help him in his situation and what he had going on. But there was one thing I could have did, right? I could have told him the truth and could have told him that he needs to get off these drugs. He needs to get his life together. He needs to let go of those old things and stop worrying about the past so much because at this point he had fell out with basically all his friends. All the guys he used to be around growing up, he had fell out with them in some way, and it was usually over like petty reasons or just about him feeling like they weren't really there for him. And to me, it's just like, bro, you got to move on from a lot of that stuff. And I could have had those conversations with him, but sadly, this was the last day I seen him. A few days later, I knew he had court coming up that week, but the next thing I did see was on the internet, I seen people posting RIP pictures of him. So imagine you have an old friend from when you grew up, you haven't seen them in years. They come back into your life and then they die a week later. That's exactly what happened to me. Now, I'm not sure how exactly he died. I would assume it was a overdose or something type of tragic accident happened, but to this day I don't really know what happened. I think, his family's trying to keep that more in-house, which I definitely respect, because to me it really doesn't matter how. What really more matters to me is just that me being on the path I was on, I felt like God was trying to use me in a way to kind of be the last resort, the last lifeline to help this guy, because he had fell out with everybody else, I don't think he really had anybody around that he felt like he could be real about his situations with. I know he had certain other people in his life, but it just got to a point where I don't know, maybe it's coincidence. Maybe I think about it too deeply, but to me, it's just like weird that he came into my life. I felt like it was some way I could help him. I just didn't really know how to articulate it or the exact steps to take. And I didn't end up helping him. I kind of ended up ignoring him, avoiding him, not really wanting like see him, taking other routes around my neighborhood just so if he was hanging around out there that he wouldn't see me. And I avoided him instead of actually being there for someone I could have been there for. And that's something I got to carry on, something that's got to be part of my testimony too. And that's the reason why I'm telling y'all this. Because if you're on this path of self-improvement, enlightenment, spirituality, and just trying to be that best version of yourself, you might have a job, right? You might have a job where you feel like you work for this person, but that's not who you work for, man. You work for God at this point, man. If you're on this path, if you are somebody that you just feel like you are here to serve a certain purpose, and you feel like that purpose has to do with helping people, you don't work for nobody else. You work for God at this point, man. So yeah, you might have to go to your job to keep the lights on, pay the bills, but God is going to call you to do certain things for certain people. And it's up to you to see the signs and have your eyes open enough to where, maybe he was too far gone to where I couldn't help him, but I definitely could have tried. And me not trying is why I don't know what happened to him, and why I don't know if I had helped, then he'd probably still be here today. So yeah, man, I know that was a long story. Thank you if you made it all the way through. As always, like, comment, and share, and subscribe. And, check out the Patreon if you want a few extra videos a week. As always, love y'all.